I can't take it anymore. It's too much. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has turned lives upside down. People who were just recently going about their day-to-day routines now fear for their lives. And many are on the run, seeking safety in neighboring countries, including Germany.
My mother lives in Kharkiv and it's being destroyed. They're shooting at schools, hospitals, just everywhere.
But Ukrainians are resisting. Sergei is checking on his family. His wife and 2 sons have been taking refuge in this Kyiv subway station for days. Sergei is a soldier, but underwent surgery just before the war broke out, meaning he can't fight. So instead, he cooks at home and brings food and water here. The previous day, Sergei's wife Natalia went outside with their children to get some fresh air. And in that moment, a Russian shell hit Kyiv's TV tower.
My 2 sons were rooted to the spot, staring at the tower. Luckily, a soldier quickly rushed us back down here again.
I heard the explosion and kept waiting for Natalia's call. At that moment, something broke inside me.
My youngest son doesn't dare go out anymore, and my older son yelled in his sleep last night, "Mum, we have to get out of here."
Normally a bustling city, Kyiv is now practically deserted. And farther to the east, in Kharkiv, the city is being pounded by missiles. In Lviv, located in western Ukraine, volunteers are building barricades. And anyone who can is leaving the country. Like here at Kyiv Central Station, and at bus stations nationwide. Pavlo is bidding farewell to his wife and small daughter. He's staying, as men aged 18 to 60 have to help defend the country.
It's terrible because actually it was so unexpected and nobody was prepared to this situation. And we believe that we will see them soon.
Hundreds of thousands are on the move. Dad stayed in Kyiv. Many are children, like Mark. Dad will sell things there and help our heroes, our army, our country, and maybe he'll even fight himself. For many, the first stop in the EU is the Przemysł train station in Poland on the Ukrainian border. More and more refugees arrive every day. And more helpers, too. Anna has come from Lviv. It took 24 hours to get here. It normally takes just 2. But Russian troops have bombed the railway, so the trains have to keep stopping for the tracks to be repaired. At least a warm meal and a bed await the new arrivals.
We're very thankful to the Polish people for helping Ukraine.
Sergei wants to return to Ukraine, where he was born. He lives in Poland and has a wife and 2-year-old daughter here. But he's a military reservist. It's devastating. I can't watch this war raging in my country. Seeing what's happening on TV breaks my heart. But the train to Kyiv scheduled for today seems to have been cancelled. Less than 100 kilometers to the east, in Lviv, a line has formed in front of the local office for the Ukrainian military. These volunteers want to take up arms.
So this is total mobilization. So we don't filter any of them. Every who want to join the army can do this.
Women are signing up too, like Halina. She's a doctor and wants to serve in a medical battalion.
We have to put up a fight. Ukraine has to survive.
Others have collected used clothes to make into camouflage nets. They're to protect Ukrainian soldiers and military equipment from Russian airstrikes. And this brewery has interrupted its beer brewing business to make Molotov cocktails.
Someone has to do it. We have skills. We have been through 2014 street revolution, the Maidan, where we had to make and use Molotov cocktails.
Back then, protests started out among students in Kyiv before broadening into a nationwide movement, driving the pro-Russian president to flee the country. Today, they say, much more is at stake. Evening sets in at Przemysł train station in Poland. Sergei isn't going anywhere today, but his phone keeps ringing. It's his girlfriend checking in with him. She wants to know what the plan is. She wants me to come back, but I told her I'm waiting for the next train. I can't come back now. The next border to the west. The German city of Frankfurt an der Oder is located across the river from Poland. Mike works as a nurse, but right now he's got his hands full packing aid supplies. This is food and toiletries. Clothes stay there. Someone just donated a bag full of baby food for people in Ukraine. Mike and his partner Boba launched this donation campaign together.
I'm from the former Yugoslavia and I lived through war as a child. My family lost everything. The day it all began, we were beside ourselves. But it gave us hope to stand up and say, we're not going to just sit here and take it. We're going to pitch in and fight against the war with peaceful resistance.
A woman has just arrived with a donation for her homeland. She's Ukrainian. The response has been enormous. Aid organizations are already warning they'll soon have more donations than they can manage to distribute. Here at the Lviv Palace of Arts, they've gotten things prepared. Just hours after the first bombs fell, volunteers set up a distribution center for the whole country. Yesterday, we sent off 50 buses to Odessa, Kherson, and Kyiv, and now regional distribution centers are popping up everywhere. And fresh supplies are already on the way.
We've got Tatiana here. She speaks Ukrainian. That's no problem.
The team is preparing to take off from Frankfurt an der Oder the next morning. Their original 6-car convoy has grown to 14 and is fully loaded. The aim is to reach the Ukrainian border by the evening. Some 100 kilometers to the west. At the Berlin Central Station, a train from Warsaw is just pulling in. Several trains operating specifically to accommodate Ukrainians fleeing the war arrive in the German capital every day. Some Ukrainians are simply transiting here, traveling to relatives or friends elsewhere in Western Europe. Little Mark is 8 months old. This is his first big trip. Mother and child left Kyiv to head west.
We just took off, in the hope that the fighting will end soon and we can return home. But it hasn't stopped. I felt so bad for my son. Constant sirens, constantly rushing to the basement. It's terrible.
This is Polina and Erica's third day at the train station helping. They're both Russian, but live here in Berlin.
I just feel really guilty. Even though I can't help it, there's this war. I grew up in Belgium.
It's not your fault, says Sasha. Lena is fleeing for the second time. 8 years ago, when pro-Russian separatists occupied the Donbass region, she left her home and started a new life in Odessa.
My sister stayed in Odessa with her 3 sons, along with my mother and father. None of them wanted to leave everything behind yet again. But we packed our bags and got going.
They've been traveling for 6 days already, and their son urgently needs clean clothes. They need warm blankets and food to eat. Now they're heading to Hamburg, where Lena has relatives.
I hope Putin won't win. I hope Ukraine will not just survive, but flourish.